your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, welcome along. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Thanks a lot. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome to this, what are we, Wednesday? Are we Tuesday? What day is this? Getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited. At the end of the week, we've got the Big Ten Football Media Days up in Chicago. We'll be coming to you live from Chicago. We'll move the golf club at Eagle Point Studios north. Jim Coyle with you as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. But, Big Ten Media Days coming up on Thursday. Friday, we'll be up there live for that. But until then, the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios are still in Bloomington. Trey Galloway's on the show today. How about that? Find out how the AAU season has gone, what the recruiting process has been like, what his thoughts are. Get your questions in if you like. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Feel free to get any questions in for Trey Galloway. He'll be with us in the next hour. Scott Agnes from The Athletic will join us as well. We'll put the NBA Summer League to bed. Also, talk about what might be the next move for Juwan Morgan after his run with the Jazz has come to an end. Talking about the Big Ten Football Media Days at the end of the week. You know, OSU and Ohio State got a new coach, man. We got a lot to talk about there. Stevie Scott on the Maxwell Award list. That's an award won by Anthony Thompson. Talk a little bit about Kalen DeBoer, the offensive coordinator for Indiana, and the things I think he can do. Man, I watched Breaking Away last night again. That's just such an incredible movie. On itself, it's just a really good movie. It's got it was well written. The father is one of my favorite characters. He just cracks me up. He's just always been out of shape. Don't want to hear that Heidi music. I think the Heidi music comes from a World War II thing to Hansel and Gretel or something. I don't even know. It's just hilarious. But if you have not, if you're one of the few that has not seen Breaking Away, you are doing yourself a disservice. And I noticed at the theater on Kirkwood in Bloomington is going to be showing Hoosiers coming up, Breaking Away coming up. I want to go watch that in the theater just to see it in the theater. That'd be cool. I don't recall I'm trying to remember I know Breaking Away what I saw on cable, but I'm trying to think. I don't recall seeing Hoosiers in the theater. I may have, probably did. Who knows? So look, I was watching the Reds and the Cubs last night. Man, the Reds are an enigma. They scored a run to start the game, and Cal Schwarber just drills a monster bomb, a Schwar bomb. He hit his 20th home run of the season last night. This is the third consecutive season that Cal Schwarber has had at least 20 dingers. That's a pretty good run. Now, it was not enough last night because the Cubs were feeling very philanthropic. Some key errors, key hits by the Reds, and the Reds win 6-3. The Cubs are in first place. The Reds are in last place in the Central Division. The Reds have won 7 out of 10 games against the Cubs this year. The Reds have done some astonishing things. They just set a Major League Baseball record with, I think, I forget, it was 3 triples and a certain amount of home runs in the game that had not ever happened. It is crazy. But this is the last place team but they keep doing funny things. They've won 70% of their games against the first place team. Odd season. The Reds are the best last place team in Major League Baseball. The funny thing is they're only, last I checked, they were like 4 or 5 games out of first. They're in last, but they're only 4 or 5 games out of first. There is another unique, like they do in the NIT each year, baseball will try sometimes play with some rules to see how they go in the minor leagues. Normally it's like, yeah, okay, I get that. I see that. This one, no. This one is, to me, the dumbest. I'm not digging this rule change in the Atlantic League. Trying to figure out where. I don't remember where the Atlantic League is. Obviously along the East Coast somewhere. But anyway, you can steal first in this league. Wrap your hands around that. It was a first in baseball history. Not that bad, maybe not even quite a week ago. It's crazy. No matter what the count is, if you're familiar with baseball, on a third strike, if the catcher drops the ball, misses the ball, whatever, the runner can attempt to go to first, which I've always thought was a strange rule in and of itself. Actually, it's funny, though, that probably my best day at the plate ever benefited from that very thing, and that was the only at bat I didn't get a hit in. I struck out, but the catcher, the ball got away, and I went to first, and I got on clean. But I've always found it to be a strange rule. Well, now in the Atlantic League, the rule that they're playing with is it's basically that. It's like the third strike deal, but it's on any whatever the count is. It doesn't matter. Any pitch. Could be the first pitch. If the ball gets away from the catcher, you can attempt to steal first. Crazy. That's not one I'm digging on, man. Not one I'm digging on. It's kind of, it's got a little kitschy excitement because it's new, but that's too impure for me. That's just my personal opinion on that. But we'll see how that works out. We'll see how the Reds do. See if they can continue rolling on. We got a lot of football coming up, the Big Ten Media Days. And there was a discussion I saw yesterday. Someone predicted this, predicted that. And I think Indiana's going to win at least 7 games this year. I really do. And I think that is because they're better, they're stronger, they're deeper. But it's also because Tom Allen has grown a little bit in his role as head coach. Most importantly, Kalen DeBoer is the offensive coordinator. Kalen DeBoer has seen yearly increases in offensive output wherever he's been. Fresno State, his last stop, first season, 10-point jump, 10 points per game. I think his previous stop, he doubled. His very first stop, he went like 1,004 or something. That's a little exaggerated, but it was an unbelievable record at a smaller school. But he is an offensive. He's gonna put pressure on the opposition defense. And I think that he has the tools to get the job done. This is going to be all we've talked about this. The offensive line. It's totally up to them what they can do. But if that offensive line can come through, they've got the quarterbacks. They've got running backs. They just had one put on the Maxwell list. You got Stevie Scott coming back. You got Cole Guest coming back from an injury. Ronnie Walker, kind of forgot about him. Ivory, Winters, and of course, Samson James to back him up. You've got a cadre of wide receivers. Nick Westbrook back in the fold. I think they can be a dangerous offensive weapon. And I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on oppositional defenses. And I think they're going to get 7 wins. Doesn't mean they can't get more. Because if that surprise win comes early, Katie bar the door. They've got a tough schedule. Ohio State and Michigan are coming to Bloomington. They've got to travel to Lincoln to play Nebraska. That's actually an opportunity there. Although it's on the road in a very, very difficult environment. One of the toughest environments in all of college football. Indiana might be a better team than Nebraska. Yes, I just said that. Indiana might be a better team than Nebraska. It's true. Nebraska's in a turnaround. Scott Frost, first-year coach. Is this his first year or second year? I think. Anyway, they're still in change. And talk about a school in change, it's Ohio State. You got Ryan Day coming in. Urban Meyer's out. He's gone. Schools usually have a little dip when you have a change in coaches, no matter what, no matter who they are. And I don't think Ohio State's going to be any different. Now, is that going to benefit Indiana, or is that just going to benefit the Michigans and the Penn States and all those guys? Well, we'll find out quickly, because Indiana opens Big Ten play against Ohio State, much like they did 2 years ago. But this time it's not the first game of the season, at least. But it is the third game of the season. They will have a couple of games under their belts, which is optimal for them to get to work some things out before they take on the vaunted Buckeyes. But this game's at home. The last time Ohio State came here, College game day, it was a lot of excitement. Indiana was leading them, I believe, midway through the third quarter. And that's with a Mike DeBoer-led offense. So, there was a post by someone on Twitter that said, hey, Indiana's going to beat Ohio State and yada, yada. And Brian Tonsani was writing back, I want to have what you're drinking. It's kind of funny, but the truth is they can beat Ohio State. They can beat Michigan. The reason I say that is because they are going to be a better team than they have been in the last few years. And they took Michigan to overtime 2 years ago. They played well at Ohio State last year. They just didn't have the depth last year. You could see it. You could see separation in games. Iowa was definitely a game that they were just out physically played. Those tight ends beat the crap out of Indiana. Indiana's a better team. They're a much more dangerous offense. That's for damn sure. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to put the pressure on. We'll have Coach Allen on with us Thursday when we're live from Chicago, the Big Ten Media Day. So make sure you catch us for that. But we'll see what else we can get done up there. I'm sure we'll have a lot of great guests on. Tom Allen is definitely going to be one of those. IU's head football coach. Looking forward to that. Tom's been on with us. I think this will be his fourth time on the show. As a matter of fact, I can squarely say that Tom Allen will have been on Indiana Sports Beat more than any other radio show, period. How about them apples? I'm digging it. Hey, on the program today, looking forward to talking to Trey Galloway from Culver Academy. He's an IU target. Had a great weekend at the Adidas Gauntlet. Had a pretty good run overall this summer. His stock has just steadily risen. He's quietly gone about his business. I personally think that he's a lock for IU. I'm glad he's not listening right now. But that's neither here nor there. That's just my thoughts on it. But Scott Agnes from The Athletic will join us as well. Scott was in Las Vegas last week for the NBA Summer League when we talked to him. This week, we'll put a bow on that, see what's next for the Pacers. We'll talk about Jawan Morgan, what might be his next step as well. We've got plenty coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios and back with more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. We're rocking it in there a little bit. The Doors. Love it. Joining us now, our good friend Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Michael, how's it going, man?
Doing great. How are you doing, Jim?
Great. It was an action-packed weekend, a great day today. Just got off with Dusty May, former Hoosier, now the head coach at Florida Atlantic. So a big Monday.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I am looking forward to listening to that segment. I know he did a lot of work under Coach Knight, so I'm guessing he had some thoughts on the whole move back to Bloomington, right?
I didn't even bring it up.
Well, there's my opportunity to talk to him next.
Yeah, there you go. Because I actually did mean to ask him about that, but you get so much time, and I'm like going, "Hey, I got Mike Schumann waiting. I can't." No,
you can't keep me waiting.
No, but talk more about what he's doing now, but which is pretty cool. It's always cool to see that, but it amazes me and I've talked about that on the show today. But everybody saw the pictures from over the weekend with AJ Guyton and Michael Lewis and Dane Fife and Dusty May and Damon Bailey, Jamal Meeks. I'm like, golly, all those guys from that same era right there, and Lord knows who else was there that I didn't see, but it's just great to see that out there.
Yeah, it's kind of the untold story of all these recruiting events is a lot of people that, had really tight bonds years and years ago get to reunite at least once a year. So it is really neat to see those kind of pictures come out.
Well, a big weekend for all the kids they're wanting coaches to see them, that they're looking to move on to college, the AAU circuit coming to almost to a complete head. It's not quite done yet, but all as far as the coaches being there, it is. A lot went on this weekend. Some guys had great weekends, some didn't. But what was your takeaway from the weekend?
Yeah, just a lot of activity and a lot of commentary from guys that IU is pursuing. You take a guy like DJ Stewart out of Chicago that it's interesting. It shows how dynamic recruiting is even over the course of a weekend. And he had some quotes coming like in the latter part of the week last week, talking about his plans, as with most recruits, pretty cryptic with what he's going to do. But it was pretty clear that Indiana was somewhere that he was highly likely to visit. But since then, he's had an offer from Duke. And then even today, I've seen, communications with North Carolina and Kentucky. And so, that's just how fluid recruiting is. And that's, the position that Indiana's in right now. You kind of almost cringe a little bit when you see the other guys come in like that, because Indiana's just not in a position where they can kind of dictate the direction of recruitments right now. So that was one that stood out to me, that had a lot of activity going on over the course of the weekend. We put out a summary of 8 different guys that, had different commentary on either their specifics about Indiana or, their plans for, next steps, cutting lists, visits, things like that. You mentioned AAU's kind of winding down, and that's right. And so the next obvious step in the recruitment cycle is, guys can get a little bit more focused on what they're going to do in terms of, list cuts and official visits and things like that, at least as it relates to the class of 2020.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm over this list cutting deal. I swear, here's to me how to be. You get one list cut and it's down to 5. Anything other than the 5, I don't want to hear about it, because you can only take 5 visits. So pick your 5 and go with that. I don't want to hear you've cut your list to 10 and all that junk. Dude, just get to it. But that's the get off my lawn part of me.
Yeah, and I hear your point. I mean, if you get much more than 5 or so, it starts to feel a little disingenuous. And sometimes those lists are, completely disingenuous, especially if you see, here's my top 12 or my top 10. These guys aren't seriously considering that many schools and actively talking to that many coaches. I mean, you give the kids the benefit of the doubt because they're teenagers and it's an exciting time for them. But at the same token, you do have to take it all with a grain of salt. But, I think we are going to see some serious list cuts here in the next month with guys that are serious about Indiana. I talked in the article about Zach Loveday, who's someone I think, he's a 7-footer out of Ohio that I think IU will end up on a list that he's actually serious about and will likely get an official visit out of him. Jalen Bridges is another guy that said Indiana recently offered him in the class of 2020, and he indicated that Indiana is somebody that he's likely going to visit here in the coming months. So those are just a couple examples. We went through all of them, but it's certainly going to be a time coming up here where the class of 2020 is going to materialize pretty quickly.
So Indiana's got what, four scholarships for next year?
That's right. They would not have had that many, but with the 2 that went unfilled in 2019, that leaves a pretty big opportunity in 2020 and as you know, Archie talked about that at Huber's in terms of, whether it was spent or not, he seemed enthusiastic about having, 4 scholarships to play with in 2020.
Let me go ahead and settle it for a lot of people. Here, Matt Cross, Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal, I think take 3 of those 4 spots. My personal opinion.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that those are the 3 guys that are the most likely, or at least leaning the most towards Indiana right now. The only thing I would pause with that is, if Galloway or Leal goes first, does that give the other pause? Because they're both kind of 6'5" shooting guards. I think they in my mind, they're both leaning Indiana, but I don't know that they want to be on the same team. Not because they're close friends and they're they're teammates and they've been teammates for a long time on the AAU circuit. But do they kind of marginalize each other if they both go to Indiana? That would be the question, at least in my mind. But I agree with your 3 names right there, and I think from the IU perspective, it's reasonable to question, do they back off if they get a commitment from one? Because, in my mind, the ideal class for 2020 is going to be a point guard, a shooting guard, a forward, and a big. And so, that getting the 3 guys you just named is probably not optimal, because I think, you like to keep your classes balanced, and I don't think there would be a lot of balance on there. Because even Cross is a 6'7" guy that gravitates more towards the wing than a power forward, at least at the college level.
I agree exactly. And now the thing for me is, if I'm Trey Galloway per se, I'd say and not to diminish his talents, but he probably has the least opportunities of the 3. Why would you not just go be the first guy? Say, I want my spot and take the spot. I've never understood that. If you really want to go there and it's like, man, if that guy goes there, I'm not going to go there. Well, go there first.
I mean, that's what they're struggling with right now. But, to take a step back for a guy like Galloway, he's been hearing from, the Blue Bloods as well. He had Kansas watching them this weekend. He's been hearing from them for a couple months now. He's been hearing from other schools like that. So I think, it's this delicate balance of trying to understand what your options are while also not having options taken away from you by somebody jumping the line. That's always the challenge. But if you are Trey Galloway and you are serious about IU, you do need to move before people jump the line. You're right.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that Matt Cross isn't the first one to commit, to be honest with you, because he is made it known that he kind of wants to get it done and have it out of the way.
Yeah, somebody just asked me on social media, like who are the most likely to commit, and I would struggle to say who's going to go first, but I see an August timeline at the latest for Cross and Galloway, maybe even Leal. He seems like he's pushed it back a little bit more, but I think they're all kind of in that, late summer time frame, and I wouldn't be surprised to see July commitments roll in.
The only reason I would not be surprised to see both Galloway and Leal is because the Indiana flavor. I know there has been some, and maybe they don't pay attention to that, but I think that it is important that they get some Indiana players just from an optics standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's where the recruiting success has been so far. I'm genuinely confused or puzzled in terms of whether or not for both sides, for both the players and the team, whether or not that's the optimal route to go to have both Leal and Galloway on the roster. I mean, I mentioned roster, or recruiting class balance. The alternative is just to get a couple shooting guards this year, and then in 2021 just go completely away from that. With a guy like Christian Lander, place an emphasis on Caleb First and Trey Kaufman, and just kind of balance your classes that way. They could go either way. The issue is that I think the overall shooting guards, even in state in 2021, are probably a hair better when you start talking about guys like Blake Wesley and Luke Goody. So the good news is there's an unlimited number of options within the state of Indiana, and I don't think you can necessarily go wrong, but it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely kind of the minutia that you get into with recruiting.
Yeah, and I listed those three guys there, Cross, Galloway, and Leal, but there's a fourth opening. Who's the best option or the most likely you think to fill that? And obviously, that's going to have to be a big of some sort, whether we're talking about a forward, but that's going to have to be one of those 6'8" guys that Archie absolutely loves.
Yeah, it's interesting right now. I mean, maybe Jalen Bridges is a guy that is going to kind of come up late and surprise people and end up at a Big Ten school like Indiana or Ohio State. He had some positive things to say about IU here even today and over the weekend to the recruiting services. So, that's one name. There's, Terrence Clark, I think, is a long shot. He's a top 5 national guy, a clear one and done that looks to be reclassing into the class of 2020. So, and he continues to mention Indiana on his list. But beyond that, I don't see Indiana being really far down the road with anyone other than, I mentioned Zach Loveday. If there's anyone that's a true big, he's a 7-footer, and when's the last time Indiana had a 7-footer on the roster that could actually play? He's probably the one that I think they're furthest along with and most likely to get on campus for an official visit and maybe end up in kind of a final 3 type situation. So if my optimal class that's probably realistic right now might be Loveday, Cross, either Galloway or Leal, and then maybe a point guard like an RJ Davis, who's another guy we haven't mentioned yet, a New York kid whose recruitment, similar to Stewart, is also kind of blowing up right now based on really high level spring and summer AAU play. But he's a guy that's also talking right now about a visit to Indiana. And I'd say for anybody that, Indiana's talking to right now, the visit is the clear signal. If they can get these kids on campus, that indicates from the players' perspective that they're serious and it's not just, talking.
Absolutely. RJ Davis is someone that one of Archie's top targets. He's been on him for a while.
Yeah, he's a guy that, I think the only thing holding his recruitment back, when Indiana got on board a couple months ago is the fact that he's, it's stretching it to say that he's 6 foot tall. He's probably a 5'11" point guard, and he probably only weighs about 160. So, Cliff Marshall could work on him for sure, but he's not a big guy, but he makes up for it by, elite speed and athleticism. The whole key with guys of his size is, can you make space for yourself? And he does it very well, gets to the foul line an inordinately high amount of time. So he's just a guy that's got a burst and can really generate room for himself to get points. And he scores at a very high level. Not unlike a Yogi Ferrell type point guard that can score and has elite speed. So that's definitely somebody that I think you're right. I think if there's anybody that's kind of the top point guard target right now, beyond another name, Caleb Love, that I think has kind of drifted off the IU radar just because of, another guy that IU was out in front of for a long time. But, Archie seems to do a good job of identifying top talent, but then everybody else catches up with him. And then it's, then you're in the shark-filled waters with everybody else. But Davis might be the one that, if they can get him on campus right now, I think they could really, try to make that happen and close him. That would be the top guy at the point guard position in my mind.
We'll certainly find out. Lots to keep up with, lots more as the world turns, as we'll see as the summer progresses. Mike Schumann from the Daily. I'm telling you, man, it never does. It's always more. We got Big Ten Media Days on Thursday, so for football. So all kinds of stuff, man. It just doesn't stop. Mike, thank you so much, man. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier.
Thank you, Jim. Have a great one. See you Thursday.
You bet. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier joins us. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat. Coming back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett. Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle here with you as always on this Tuesday. It's Big Ten Football Media Week. We will be coming to you live from Chicago on Thursday and Friday for Big Ten Media Days. Tom Allen will be with us on Thursday. And that's the only prediction because once we get there, who knows? Going to cut loose, man. Never know who we'll be talking with up there. Summer League is wrapped up. NBA. Juwan Morgan, we'll see what's up next with him. Today on the program, we'll talk with Scott Agnes from The Athletic. Wrap up what the Pacers are doing. I think they signed their Go-Go. Just signed his contract, I believe I saw that yesterday. On the program today also, Trey Galloway. IU basketball recruiting target from Culver Academy. Just completed the bulk of the AAU's season. They've still got a little bit more to go. I think they have another Adidas Gauntlet event. Plus, I think that Anthony Leal, he may be out in L.A. I'm not sure. Man, there's just stuff going on all the time. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, Jake. Did you know that this is the, not this exact day, but 50 years for Apollo 11 that we landed on the moon? It's also still Prime Day. Did you participate in Prime Day yesterday?
No, I did not. I don't even have Amazon Prime.
I do, and the only thing I purchased is the two things that I remember I told you a couple of weeks ago I was going to buy some stuff. It was maybe just some phone chargers and things. And I'm like, oh, let me wait on that. That was for nothing. Waited 2 weeks for nothing because it affected what I wanted in no way, of course. So now I just don't have the things that I wished I had when I'm going up to Big Ten Media Days because they're not going to get here in time. They'll get here the same day I'm leaving. Of course, I'll be gone. Just got a new banner. That stupid thing won't be here in time. 4 to 6 business days on the shipping. God, I'm so used to Amazon Prime shipping. It spoils you. I got to tell you, man. Guarantee a 2-day delivery. Bam. But oh well. Jim Delaney is in his last year as commissioner of the Big Ten. This is the last Big Ten Football Media Days he'll reside over. Got basketball coming up yet, but January 1st is when the new dawn starts with Kevin Warren, big TV network guy. There's going to be some changes in football this year. I mean, changes of the guard, that is. OSU coming in with a new coach, Ryan Day. How's that going to affect the Buckeyes? Will that give Indiana an opportunity with the Buckeyes coming to Bloomington this year? They played them pretty solid last year. And that was with an offense that was, I don't want to say inept, but they weren't ept. It was, this could be exciting. It could be fun. You remember the last time Ohio State came here, it was College Game Day, man. Indiana was leading after, 3 quarters. Stadium was packed. It will be for that game as well. It usually is for Ohio State. But if Indiana not only goes 2-0 in those 2 non-conference games leading up to the Big Ten opener with Ohio State, it depends on how they win these games. If they win those games convincingly, like I think that they can, the stadium will definitely be packed. But a good portion of that is because Ohio State brings a ton of people over from Columbus or wherever. You have to remember they have a 100,000 seat stadium that they fill on the reg. So filling this 55,000 Memorial Stadium, that's nothing for them alone. Hell, they could fill that stadium themselves if they wanted to. So I'm sure the stadium would be packed. That could be an exciting game, though. If Indiana is, I don't expect them to show a whole lot in those first two games. Why would they? They don't want to show Ohio State what they got. I still think they need to win convincingly. I think they need to establish themselves. You don't have to show a ton to do that. Just dominate. I'm interested to see this offense. I'm interested in to see who's going to start. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Practice starts, August 1st, I think? I just got the schedule yesterday. We're looking forward to heading out and seeing that at least. That'll give us a taste. I mean, we're halfway through July, so we're only a couple of weeks away from the start of football fall camp. Where is that? I think that starts on the 1st, like I said. I don't see it, but there it is. August 1st is Media Day. IU football Media Day. Not Big Ten Media Day, but so, and then August 2nd is the first practice. We'll be there, of course. We'll be there each day to get sound from whomever we can talk to, different coaches and whatnot. But it's here, man. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to stop talking about basketball for a while. I'm ready to stop talking about recruiting. I'm ready to see Indiana succeed in football. You know, I mentioned I was watching Breaking Away last night. It was so funny because there's those scenes where they're at Memorial Stadium watching a practice up on the hillside, the south hillside, where then there were no stadiums whatsoever, nothing connected to the sides. It's just funny seeing all that old stuff. And the press box. I didn't really notice the original press box, at least then, was smaller than the one they have now. So they've added on to it. The front of it looks the same, exact same. And it got me to thinking, though, Indiana needs to continue to step up facilities. Indiana needs a new press box. That press box is antiquated, man. It is old. The elevators take forever. Trust me, Purdue, Illinois, really nice press boxes. But what they have hooked to those are suites. It's time for Indiana to add suites. So you could kill two birds with one stone. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, though. I don't know how enjoyable it would be to be up in those suites because let me tell you, you are so far removed from the game, you need a telegraph to tell you what happened. Almost. Pretty high in the air. Or they could have put them on the ends. I think they should have thought that out a little bit, but it's time for Indiana to add suites and a new press box. It's time. That thing has been there since forever, and it's time to renovate. It's time to put your money where your mouth is. It's time to really back the Indiana football program. There's been a lot of upgrades, the locker rooms and all that stuff. But, they share a weight room. Indiana football does not have its own weight room. Joker texts in that he likes Michael Penix without seeing the quarterbacks play, just going off of ability from word of mouth. He likes Michael Penix, Jack Tuttle, and Peyton Ramsey. Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know between Mike Penix and Jack Tuttle. or Peyton Ramsey right now. I mean, I'm seeing Peyton Ramsey's chances of being QB1 as not 33%. I'm seeing that as being more like 10%. He has the advantage of 2 years of experience, but he just does not have the physical tools that either Penix or Tuttle has. Certainly does not have the arm strength of either, much less Penix. Penix is he doesn't have an arm. He has a cannon coming out of his shoulder. But it's going to be interesting to see how that quarterback battle rages through fall camp. And I think it's going to be a battle. Penix will be healthy. He'll be ready to go. Jack Tuttle's going to be ready to go. Peyton Ramsey will be ready to go. That's going to be an exciting thing to see. Now, the last time Indiana had 3 good quarterbacks like that back around 2012 or 13, Trey Roberson and Nate Sudfeld and Cam, I think, Cam Coughlin. Yeah. Ended up leading to transfers for 2 of them. That's going to happen again. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to happen again because there's no way well, it depends, I guess, on who wins that job. And now, especially with the NCAA recently making it much more difficult for transfers to be eligible immediately. That good happened after Jack Tuttle came to Indiana. But with that change, that may change things. But, if Jack Tuttle gets the job, I don't see Michael Penix sitting for the next 4 years. And vice versa. I hope that's not the case. I hope they're still here. I hope they can maybe find a way to play both. It would be kind of unique. Not unique in that it's never happened, but they're different. They're different cats. Michael Penix is left-handed on top of that. That would have been okay to roll for Mike DeBoer to roll Penix to his left against Michigan 2 years ago when he did it twice with Peyton Ramsey on the short side of the field in overtime. Never forget that. I still can't get over it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the quarterback play. Who comes out of that battle? Right now it's all guesswork because there's nothing to base it on. Michael Penix obviously rehabbing from that injury through the spring. Even Jack Tuttle got a little sickness. So not a lot done in the spring, which I don't think that's going to hurt them. I think that they've both been working so hard that it's not going to matter. That when fall camp opens, man, it's going to be Katie bar the door, and here we go. It should produce some great battles. And it should push this offense to newer heights. And the fact that it has great complementary pieces in the running backs room and on the receivers core is only going to make it better. Got some experience on that offensive line. Hopefully the depth is there. It's going to need to be through the Big Ten season. But if it is, I think this team can do some stuff, man. They're not going to go out and win the Rose Bowl or anything like that. But I definitely see them bowling. And not in the lower end bowls either. I think they're going to win 7 games. I really do. It's certainly going to be a fun season. It's time. Tom Allen knows it's time to produce. Back-to-back 5-7 seasons. Happened during the coaching change. I've said it before, they should have been 6-6 at worst last year. I think not starting Penix was a horrible mistake. I know the reasons, but I disagree with them. I just totally disagree with why they did not start Penix last year, and they waited way too long to bring him on. It cost Indiana at least a win, if not 2. It would have changed the whole dynamic. And the refusal and the willingness to hang on to that last year for that long, well, that bothers me. It was a mistake. But we'll get to see it this year. Looking forward to it. Exciting. Exciting stuff. We got a lot more coming up on Indiana Sports Beat today, of course. Trey Galloway and IU targets from Culver Academy. We're going to talk to him, see how his summer's gone, what's coming up next, what the recruiting process has been like. If you got questions, fire them in on the text line, 812-269-6367. I've got a couple in already. Scott Agnes from The Athletics is going to join us, too. Talk about what might be the next step for Juwan Morgan. At all. We got a lot more coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat coming back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us research program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Green. Keep up with the Hoosiers on the Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios with you again here on this Tuesday. Thanks a lot for joining us and taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jake's at the wheel, keeping everything on the track. Lots to get to today. Big time program. Trey Galloway, IU Target, is going to be on with us here in a few minutes. Scott Agnes from The Athletic will join us as well. Looking forward to talking to both of those guys. Lots to talk about. The Big Ten football season is upon us. It's getting closer. Fall camp opens for Indiana on August 2nd. Big Ten football media days this Thursday and Friday. Indiana Sports Beat will be live from Chicago, bringing that to you. We'll have Tom Allen on with us, Indiana football coach, amongst others. Looking forward to that beginning Thursday, live from the Big Ten Media Football Days in Chicago. Also, plenty to get with Scott Agnes. The NBA Summer League has been put away. Juwan Morgan, what's next for him? We'll talk about that as well. Also going to be talking to a gentleman named Dan Marsden that is trying to raise some money in New Albany for a charitable deal. Redeem the Dream. We'll talk to Dan Marsden here in just a little bit. I think it's going to be an exciting football season. Looking forward to it. Watching some baseball last night, the Cubs and the Reds. Schwarbs, he had his 20th dinger of the season, the third straight season that he's had. 20 home runs. It wasn't enough, though. The Reds win 6-3. They've won 7 out of 10 over the Cubs this year. The last place Reds have taken 7 of 10 from the first place Cubs. How about that? Something. But we've got Dan Marsden with us now from Redeem the Dream. Dan, how are you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know that a friend of Lance Stemler's, a good buddy of ours here on the show, and Lance is becoming associate head coach at Providence High School in southern Indiana, Clarksville down there by New Albany. But tell us a little bit more about Redeem the Dream.
Yeah, so Redeem the Dream, we're a youth outreach organization that I started about 5.5 years ago, a 501c3 nonprofit here in New Albany to really reach, teenagers that are falling through the cracks in our community. And it kind of came through my own passion of growing up in Germany. I, welfare, single mom kind of thing, showed up to the U.S. on my own with a one-way ticket. Yeah, actually, back in 1997, I flew to Portland, Oregon, had a family lined up, and they just ditched me at the airport. And, just was a homeless teenager in a different country right off bat. And, just kind of worked my way through. And 15-some years later, I ended up here in Indiana and just kind of realized that there's a lot of kids in this community here that could use some extra help. And so I took $50 to Chase Bank in 2013, and I started Redeem the Dream and never looked back, brother. So
that story is amazing in of itself, and it's what I should be focusing on right now. But I gotta tell, are you telling me, are you German?
Yeah, born and raised.
You speak with a very clean accent.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I got rid of it pretty quickly. So I'm a dual citizen, though. I have an American passport. My birth father is American, even though I didn't really meet him until I was about 19 years old. But
wow, that's an incredible story in and of itself, man. Congratulations on the resiliency, but especially with what you're doing. How'd you get involved with Lance?
Oh, with Lance, I got connected to Lance through a friend of mine, Rob Morowski, who I coached with at Providence. I actually was an assistant at Providence for 4 seasons as well, with Andrew Grants. and was a part of the team that went to semi-state, and was ranked number 1 in the state the following season, set a school record for regular season wins. So we had a nice little run there together, and Rob was on that staff with me.
That's amazing.
And he's connected to fans. So
how'd you get involved with basketball to begin with, being from Germany?
Oh yeah, well, basketball was always my dream. I've been playing basketball most of my life in Germany, and actually was on track to do pretty decent in Germany, and thought I would have a better chance if I came to the U.S. And so that's why I moved to America to pursue basketball, actually. And it was a long, hard road. My first year ended up in a small town on the Oregon coast called Walport. That was my junior year of high school. And it's just falling through the cracks, which makes me so passionate about helping kids that are falling through the cracks now. So if people feel like they can walk on you, they usually do. If you don't have parents, you don't have anybody in the corner. And so I only played 8 minutes my junior year of high school for a program that was terrible. And my coach told me I'll never play in college. My teammates poured chocolate pudding down my neck, told me to go back to my effing country, things like that. That was my first year in the U.S. I just kind of fought my way through, ended up walking on at a junior college, got redshirted, and then played 4 years at William Jessup University, which is a NAI Division I school in Sacramento, California, and graduated from there. And then after that, I played professionally for a season in Germany, where I blew up my knee my first year, and that kind of ended it. After that, I got to play in Canada again in 2007 for a little bit, but it never really turned out to be a career, like I had hoped. And so, with that passion for it. So now I do a lot of training. Individual basketball training has kind of been a big fundraiser for us over the years. And so basketball is a big passion of mine. I'm also a licensed FIBA agent, so I've helped 5-6 guys start their careers in Germany professionally. I just finished a contract last week for another player that's going over there next month. And so I had two players last season that I represented. And so that's just always something. Basketball will always be near and dear to my heart, for sure.
Well, that's a great story, except for the blowing your knee out part. The rest of it's a pretty incredible story. Now I know that for Redeem the Dream, your nonprofit, you've got there's a 3-on-3 tournament coming up.
Yeah, we got a big 3-on-3 basketball tournament coming up. We've been wanting to do this for years, and I know we're stepping out on faith. It's going to be we're really going all out in regards to our investment and the work we're putting in there. One of our big partners that kind of inspired that is Ruthie Bolton. She won 2 Olympic gold medals in women's basketball in 96, 2000. She's a Hall of Famer. And she comes out here a couple times a year and helps us with stuff through our organization and works with us. And she's connected to somebody out in Sacramento that has a company that does logistics for 3-on-3s. He's been doing it for over 20 years, and has done it with several NBA teams, different 3-on-3s in the communities and stuff. And so she connected us with him and his company. And so that's a company we hired to come out here and help us with it logistics wise. And so it'll be August 17th and 18th. We're calling it the Dream League. The website is redeemdreamleague.com to sign up your teams. It's for elementary school all the way up to 35 and over. It's going to be family friendly. It's going to be a ton of fun. And man, I'm excited. It's going to be there at the Silver Street Park facility in Albany. We're going to bring in several hoops. So we'll have 7 courts going at the same time, and we have an 8th court there for special events. There'll be food trucks and DJ and like Water Wars next door. It'll be free for kids that they can participate in. So we're hoping to make it a nice big event.
So this is multiple level 3-on-3 tournament for different divisions?
Yes, we have 7 divisions. So the elementary school, middle school, high school, college. There'll be an elite division for D1 kind of guys that playing overseas that really want to go, or guys that feel like they can really play. And then there's an adult division and a 35 and over as well. So,
and the sign-up deadline looks to be August 14th.
Yep, August 14th, exactly. And actually, if anybody that signs up this week by Friday gets $20 off if they use the discount code DREAMTEAM, all caps, all one word, Dream Team, and you'll get $20 off if you sign up this week.
Then you can do that at redeemdreamleague.com, correct?
Correct, yes. And it's a fundraiser for our nonprofit to help the kids that we serve through our programming. We have weekly programming here at Redeem the Dream where we pick up kids in the west end of Louisville, Jeffersonville, New Albany, Clarksville, and we bring them together, we feed them. We have programming for them, leadership development, mentoring, things like that, life skills classes. And we've seen a lot of awesome results over the years. So, but all of that takes money, so we need to raise it in fun and creative ways, and we thought a 3-on-3 would be a good way to go. Give it a shot.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in the Southern Indiana, Louisville area, or even if you're not, you can head there. But a 3-on-3 tournament, redeem the dream. You can sign up at redeemdreamleague.com. Need to get that done by August 14th. A multi-level 3-on-3 tournament down there to raise money for a great charity. Man, I can't thank you enough for joining us, Dan. I look forward to it. We'll get that information out on social media as well.
All right, man. I really appreciate you guys having me and helping us spread the word. Thanks again.
You bet. Tell Lance I said hey.
Oh, I will. All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks a lot. Dan Marsden joining us. We appreciate that. Remember that. Hey, write that down, folks. RedeemDreamLeague.com is where you can sign up. August 14th is the deadline. It's a 3-on-3 tournament for multiple levels from elementary up. $120, but you're raising money for charity, and you're playing hoops. So nothing wrong with that. Help them out. We appreciate it. Appreciate Dan joining us here on the show today. Also on the program, we're going to have Trey Galloway. Looking forward to talking to him next on the program. He'll be joining us here in just a little bit. Also, Scott Agnes from The Athletic will join us as well. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat coming back with Trey Galloway from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Graham. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Tuesday. Trying to stay out of the way of Hurricane Barry. I think it's headed our way, eventually. Well, before then, we've got Hurricane Trey with us. Trey Galloway from Culver Academy. Trey, how are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's it been? A great summer for you?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
Man, this stuff keeps you guys busy. I have a daughter that plays travel soccer and always gone, always practicing, always working out. It is a grind for you guys, and I know it is a grind, but you've got so much more going on because you've got this recruiting process and all these people like me talking to you and all that stuff. That's got to weigh on you. You're a teenager. I mean, you're supposed to be having fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely time consuming, but it keeps me busy and keeps me going to keep wanting to do more. And it's fun being able to travel with the guys that I like to travel with, and like being with my teammates. It's been fun to go to because we're going to LA tomorrow, so that'll be super fun to get to go out there and travel with them.
Yeah, I saw the brackets breaking out. I was like, man, those games are coming up. I said, that's tomorrow. I was like, wow. And that just adds to it. You just got off of the Adidas Gauntlet Tour over the weekend down in Alabama. Yeah. You had a great weekend, by the way. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
But then you turn around and you go to L.A. I mean, of course, it's got to be a lot of fun. I mean, you're a teenager, so you got endless energy. But that does have to be a lot of fun getting to travel to all these different places, a lot of these places that you haven't been before.
Oh, yes, for sure. And like I said, it's fun having the experience of going to different places and be able to see all these different areas where talented players come from and being able to play people outside the state of Indiana. It's been really a cool experience with my whole AAU career.
What's the coolest experience you've had through all this? It could be someone you've met or something you've done, but what's been the coolest thing for you?
I'd say honestly, probably in like 7th grade, when I won the national championship with my other AAU team, George Hill. When I used to play with them, we were in North Carolina. We won it there, so that was a pretty fun experience for me and some of the guys on my team.
You definitely that's something that was already in my mind. You're very, very level-headed, even-keeled kid. And right now you seem even more like a team player, and that comes through on the court. Is that something that you're very conscious of, that you actually work at, because it shows?
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 guys on the court at all times on the team, so if you can't work together with your team, it's not ever going to work out. So that's one thing I really try to focus on, is just getting along with guys that I'm playing with and try to go out there and compete with them for sure.
And obviously this summer you've gotten to play with a great group of talented guys, Anthony Leal, of course, Christian Lander, amongst others, but many others as well. But what's it been like playing on that team with that level of talent, all from these guys from Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really good. Just getting a feel for everybody on the team. I mean, at first me and Christian, we never really played with each other before, but it's been really good because he's a super talented player, and it's been really good to get a chance to go out there and compete with him. And obviously, Anthony Leo, we've been playing with each other for about 4 years now, so I feel like we all benefit each other with things that we do, and it's been good to just go out there and show we got to different teams across the country.
Now, you and Anthony seem to have really developed a pretty good bond. You just mentioned you played together for 4 years. I saw the piece in the paper by Zach Osterman where Anthony went up to your home up in Culver. So you guys really seem to have a great bond.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, he was at my house for the July 4th weekend. So he was here for about a week, and we got to hang out and do some stuff off the court rather than just be on the court all the time. So I feel like our relationship as friends is even off the court too as well. So we've built a pretty good relationship over the past 4 years. Like I said, it's really fun to get to know him and hang out with him for sure.
Now, both of you guys are targets from Indiana University. Both have offers from IU. And have you guys think you've talked about possibly playing together in college? Is that something that comes up much?
Yeah, we don't talk about it much, but when we do, that's definitely something that we've talked about. And we obviously know that Indiana is an option for us if we do want to play together. And I think these past years have been pretty good, and I feel like we benefit each other well on the court and off the court as friends. So I think that's a possibility for both of us for sure.
I mean, both you're very intelligent kids, and you have multiple offers from lots of different schools. What would it be like playing together at Indiana, a school that's in your home state? What would that be like for you guys?
Yeah, it'd be super cool. Just knowing that we both have the opportunity to go to the same school and represent the state of Indiana. It'd be a cool experience just to go out there and do that stuff with him for sure.
What about Indiana and Archie Miller has stood out to you so far?
Just what the one like to win. Just the way they've recruited me has really stood out to me. Coach Miller has been at all the games. I think he was at all the games this past weekend in Alabama. So just the way they're recruiting me and Anthony Leal. So it's been really cool to see how much they care and how much they really want me to be a part of their program.
And what is that? How much weight does that carry as opposed to you just looking at things on your own as, hey, I like that school because of this, but that level of the coaching and the relationship, because it seems like every recruitment, no matter what school, what sport it is, it comes down to the relationship between the player and the coach.
Yeah. Definitely one thing that I look into is to see how much they need me and how much they want me. And that definitely plays a factor into it because you obviously want to have a really good relationship with the coach if you're going to a school. And that's one thing I'm looking for is have family bond with the team and also with the coach. I feel like that's one thing that they're trying to build with me is a really good relationship. So I can build that trust if I want to go to Indiana. And that's one thing I feel like Coach Miller has really pushed towards is building a relationship with me. That's one thing that's really important for sure.
Talking with Trey Galloway from Culver Academy, one of multiple IE recruits, prospects. Now, what I know everybody in the world asks this question, and I'm sick of asking it myself, but is there a timeline that you're looking at? I mean, some guys want to get this done before school starts, some before basketball starts. They want to get out of the way, and some will wait and go through longer processes. Do you have a timeline?
Not right now. Just whenever the time feels right, I'll make my decision. But I haven't really set a base timeline. Like I said, whenever the time is right for me, whenever my heart feels is a school that I feel like I'm gonna decide to commit to, that's when I'll do it.
Now, are you done with your visits, or do you have more visits coming?
I haven't planned it yet. So once I get back from California with this last AAU tournament, I'll definitely talk with my family and see what I want to do and what I have planned next for sure.
Absolutely. Now, you got LA coming up. We've talked about that. You leave tomorrow. It booms right now. What are you looking forward to besides playing basketball, obviously? Have you been to LA before?
Yeah, I have. I was there the past 2 years. So it's really fun just being with the guys outside of basketball because we got some downtime to do some other stuff. So it's been cool to kind of go to some of the beaches and hang out with the guys. So it's been really a fun experience on and off the court and at that tournament for sure.
Who's some of the most unique players you've met that are not from Indiana? The guys that are outside that you've been playing against on some of these circuits, but great talent and great guys that you've run across.
Yeah, a couple of guys. Dustin Garcia, he's from Minnesota. That's one kid I found is a really, really good talented player. He's also being recruited by Indiana right now, but he's really talented. Another kid, Henry Coleman from Virginia. He's kind of a more power forward, but he's super talented. I think he's got offered by Duke, but he's been a really good player that I played against for sure. So those are some of the guys that I took notice on that are really good.
And if let's just jumping in the future, let's say Indiana was your commitment, or wherever, I guess wherever, it doesn't even really matter, but wherever that school is that you decide to go to, are you going to then turn out and use these relationships to try to recruit other guys to come with you?
Yeah, that'd be the plan. That's one thing I feel like I could be pretty good as being able to attract some other guys to whatever school I go to. And that's one thing I'll definitely do if I do commit somewhere early and be able to get some guys to try to get some guys to school with me.
Besides LA, you got the tournament coming up there. What else does the rest of your summer look like, Trey?
After LA, nothing much with basketball. I'm kind of done with all the tournaments, and so I'm definitely going to take this one in as my last AU tournament ever. But after that, kind of hanging out, enjoying the rest of my summer as a high school student, and kind of just focuses on getting better and getting prepared for this upcoming season.
Talk about the upcoming season. You guys have you've done okay up there at Culver. Your father's the coach. Yeah. That's kind of a unique experience in itself. I knew some guys that when I grew up that here and there their dads were the coach, but that's got to be a unique situation for you.
Yes, for sure. It's been a fun experience just having him as a coach. Because I mean, there's been some ups and downs, obviously, with it. There's been some times we've got after each other, but I feel like it's been a really good fun ride, and it's gonna be a fun senior year for sure.
Yeah, you guys have had a little bit of success there for certain. What's the team look like this season?
Yeah, we lost three really important seniors last year, but we got some young talent coming back, and we got three or four or five seniors that we've got this. So I think we're gonna have some experience and some youth, which will be really good for us to have a mixture of both. So a lot of the older guys can be able to lead the younger guys. So I think it's gonna be another fun year. We're gonna learn a lot. I think from the beginning of the year we'll struggle a little bit, but I feel like we'll be able to be a pretty good team by the start of March for sure.
Absolutely. And the recruiting process itself, is that something that you've enjoyed? Have you been able to keep it at a manageable level to where it is enjoyable? Because I know it can get away. I mean, the contacts and all that, sometimes it can be overbearing, but have you been able to keep it manageable to where it's been enjoyable for you?
Yeah. I'm just trying to enjoy life. Just use it. Just be thankful for. I mean, because not every kid gets this opportunity to go through this process, and I'm kind of just trying to enjoy it. And I mean, obviously, there's going to be times where I'm like, I want to just be a kid, hang out. But I think it's been really cool just to be able to talk to different coaches and get a feel of what they like about my game, and kind of just learn about different programs and different schools. So I think it's been a really good experience for me.
When did it sink in that, man? Not that you're very good. I don't want you to have to worry about saying that. But when did it sink in that, man, these guys are really paying attention to me? That I can maybe really do something with this. I can take this to a really high level. When was there a moment or a time that's when that dawned on you?
I remember. I definitely thought once I got to high school, there's definitely a little bit more attention drawn towards me. But I'd say, yeah, like kind of like towards sophomore year, that's when I started to get a little bit more attention with all college coaches kind of starting to flirt and kind of like look at me a little bit more. So that, I think that's one of the times that's when I for sure started to get.
I think we may have lost him. Let's see
Hello?
if we there we go. We still got
Hello?
you back. All right. There we got you. Yeah, you're
You hear
on,
me?
Trey. Go ahead. Yes, Trey. Go ahead, buddy. You're on.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say just sophomore year. I think that's one of the times where I definitely started to get some more attention. Like I said, once I got to high school, that's when I first was getting a little bit more looks at than I was.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you so much. I hope you have a great time in Los Angeles, and tell Anthony as well. We wish him the best. He's been on with us, but I hope you guys have not only a great time, but success as well. It's fun out there. I love it, but it's a lot more warmer out there.
Yeah, it is. I was talking to my mom. She said it was a little bit more cooler out there, a little more than Indiana right now. So, should be fun and give good experience in my last AU tournament.
Absolutely. Trey Galloway, man, I cannot thank you enough. Appreciate you. I wish you the best of luck. We'll be following your recruitment and see where that goes for you. But we wish you the absolute best and the best in the upcoming season if we don't get to talk to you before then.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Trey Galloway from Culver Academy, one of Indiana basketball's top targets. Greatly appreciate him joining us here this morning on the program. So look forward to that. We got Scott Agnes from the Athletics going to join us next. We'll talk about putting the Pacers summer camp to bed and see what's next for Juwan Morgan. So stay tuned. Scott Agnes joins us next here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Back with more right after this.
On a day like this, the heat, it feels like summer.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us research program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle with you here on this Tuesday. Joined now by our good friend Scott Agnes from The Athletic. Scotty, how are you, brother?
Good morning, Jim. Things are good.
It's rolling along, man. This summer's just kind of rolling along. It's going to be gone before we know it. We're in middle of July already.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for that reminder. I just can't believe that we're already past May. To me, it feels like the Indy 500 was like 2 weeks ago. And it's been almost 2 months.
Yeah, now that you say that, we were just talking about the 500, it seemed like yesterday, man.
Right.
Crazy.
I know.
It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Now we're heading into the dog days.
And yeah, now about all we got is up here in Indianapolis, you have Tebow Mania with him playing AAA baseball. That's about all that's happening this week in major sports news.
Yeah, I know you're a big Indians fan. Man, they got crushed.
Yeah, I saw that 20-1. I think it was. I love the tweet. It was like, let's go to bed and pretend this never happened. That they sent out from their official Twitter account. I thought that was pretty well done.
Yeah, they handled it about as well as you can. What are you going to do when you get beat 22-1? Man, that was rough. But yeah, they had Tebow up there, so that's I guess that's something. But now the NBA Summer League has come to an end. You were out in Las Vegas last week for that as well. The Pacers got to get things start put together. I saw that Go signed a contract, I believe, as well.
Yeah, he's had a good news over the last 3 or 4 days. Where first he had his visa approved, so he flew here to Indianapolis. And then yesterday morning, he officially signed his rookie contract. So he's under contract and is an NBA player now. Now, maybe your fans probably don't know a lot of this, but actually their pay doesn't start coming in until the first month of the season. So he doesn't start getting paid till November.
Wow.
But the benefits kick into action immediately.
Yeah, so he was a man with stuck in a country not too long ago. Now he's a multimillionaire.
Soon enough. Yeah, it's the way it be. Andy already has an endorsement contract with Adidas. So he just needs to get out there. I know the Pacers coaching staff worked with him yesterday. They'll work with him this week. And that's what he needs. He needs to learn the coaching staff because this is a brand new territory for him. He needs to work with them, maybe watch game film with them, see how they utilize Miles Turner and Domas Sabonis last year and how he can incorporate some of that into his own game.
When you're behind like he is at that level, that's a lot harder to catch up than it is on a lot of other things. How much will that inhibit his initial growth, you think?
See, I don't think it will a ton, Jim, just because he's been playing professional basketball for the last 5 years. While it's certainly been overseas, but it's been against better competition than your generic college basketball. As the Pacers executives keep harping on the fact that he's played guys that are 30, 32 years old, grown men, and they don't like these young guys. So they want to take it out on him. So I think he's further along from what I've heard because of all of that. Now, where he is behind is he didn't get the last 2 weeks with the Pacers Summer League staff, a week here in camp, and then a week in Vegas. And I don't think that's substantial, but I think that would have sped along the process much more so than now being behind.
So a lot of turnover for the Pacers, a lot of remake on the roster. How now after things are kind of said and done, how do things shake out for the Pacers?
Yeah, so they're just about done. They just have the official signings to make complete, and that'd be T.J. McConnell would be probably next, followed by Edmund Sumner getting a new deal, 3-year contract. But that would shake out to 13 players on their roster of available 15 spots. And I really like what Kevin Pritchard's tried to do is leave a spot or two open here because you just never know. Maybe they make a trade midseason and you take back 3 guys and send out 2. Or something like that, or maybe your two-way player, which in this case could be Brian Bowen. He outperforms his two-way contract and needs an NBA contract. So those are all the options they have to consider at this point. But right now, I'd say they're probably the middle, much like they were last year in terms of where they are in that Eastern Conference. But there's so much in question, right, because of the change-up. And you never know how changes impact these teams, whether it's positively or negatively, right? Because obviously, Toronto's losing Kawhi Leonard. What do? Do they just try to run it out for the rest of the year? That seems to be the case right now. But I'd probably pencil them in there in the middle of the Eastern Conference at this point of the playoff teams, 4th, 5th, 6th.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. A lot, not just the Pacers, a lot of shakeup, obviously, but around the league, it's
more than 200 players change teams. Jim, it's wild. I'm dead serious when I say this. I think we all need to study our rosters and figure out who is where at this point, because there have been so much changeover with the players over this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, back in the day when I had to walk up the hill to school both ways and all that stuff, I knew every player on every team, every position. It was like, man, I knew, and I was 10 years old and I know all this stuff. Now all of a sudden I'm like, who? They play for who? I have no idea who half these guys play for anymore.
Right. There's that segment on TNT, I think, who he play for. Usually they do the bottom roster guy. Well, you could almost get away with getting guys that are, second tier free agents at this point just because of the shakeup.
I'm telling you, Victor Oladipo, of course, we saw him out in Las Vegas. You were out there and you saw him out there. I saw him didn't he hit a 3-pointer from the sideline?
Yeah, he during timeouts as the ball rolled to him or something, or during warm-ups, he'd grab the ball and throw it up there, and the shot looked great. That's one of the big advantages or positives, you could say, that's come out of this 5-month period thus far, is that he's been really able to lock in on his shot and get back to the basics with mechanics and form.
And we know that that's a guy that can greatly improve his shot. We saw him do it at IU between his first season and the time he left, man. You talk about a guy that was a guy possessed shooting. Man, he really turned it around. So we know what he can do with that time off. So it could be a dangerous thing for other teams with Victor having that much time to practice.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest things that I know he's tried to spin as a positive, and that's important to look at the little things, little progresses, and think of it as positives here. The one thing I will say, Jim, that was just disappointing to me, the fact that he wouldn't talk to us here in local media. That's not the Victor we know, right? He's the guy that puts his arm around you and says, "Sure, what do you need?" But both times he acted very much like he was from Hollywood. And no, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. That surprised me. So some of the people, the Pacers executives, weren't even sure that he was going to be there. That's how they found out, is when they got there. So, but one good thing that did come out of it, I will say, for Victor, was he was able to work in a high school gym, working out each day. He did some with Malcolm Brogdon. TJ Warren was there. We saw those guys courtside for games. And then, so he was there for about a week and was able to take in games.
And you mentioned Brogdon, and one of those great pieces of the Pacers. added, because we've talked about those amazing stats he has, which are kind of off the chain. But how much of an impact can he have with, and we'll just say with, Victor Oladipo?
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where he'll turn up his game even more when Victor is out of there, knowing that everybody's got to raise their game just a little bit when the star player is missing, right? But I think he'll really benefit once Victor's able to come back. Those two can play off one another. Victor can drive and open things up for Brogdon, who shot better than 40% from three-point land last year as a 50-40-90 guy. And then I think also those two can just be positive influences on each other and on the rest of the team. Those two fit the culture to a T of what Kevin Pritchard's trying to build here. And Brogdon loves basketball, but also has a lot of outside interests. And I think that's good for the health of these guys, not to be just so locked into basketball.
Well, I think people see him out in Las Vegas. He's not running or moving like that, but he seemed like he was moving pretty well. I think a lot of people they have trouble understanding. My gosh, why is it going to take him all the way till January to get back? But this was a pretty substantial injury.
Yeah, I can't say that enough of how significant of a type of injury this is, and there's not many benchmarks for him, for doctors, for the Pacers to lean on and say, oh, yeah, these 12 players, these 57 players. The only real case of a player suffering this exact injury here in recent history has been Tony Parker. He did it when he was about 35 years old. Victor was 26. So even those benchmarks aren't even exactly the same. And so that's the challenge in all this. And so what we've seen, Jim, that Victor's been able to do, he's starting to run. He's starting to try to stop on a dime a little bit. But that's my biggest concern here moving forward for him, at least in the next couple of months, is how he reacts, because his body is so, and his game is so dependent on his power, on his driving, on his abrupt movements. And that's why he's not even close to being ready right now, because that's so much of his game. He could go out there, stand in a corner and shoot, but that's about it.
And of course, if you've got a couple of $4,000 or $5,000 lying around, you can go to the Victor Oladipo fantasy camp at IU.
I know. What I do take out of that is I do like how there's a good relationship, a good partnership still between the university and Victor. And obviously, Vic and Cody made that large donation last year to remake the locker room and make it kind of first class facility, because it was well behind everything, and make sure the current players today are comfortable in their environment. So I like seeing that relationship still there for sure.
Absolutely. And every time, I know you're always off covering the Pacers, but during the IU games, they'll put up this deal that I'm a Hoosier, whether it's Victor Oladipo or Cody Zeller or some other player from the past. But he always, hands down, gets the largest vote of confidence from the fans, let's say. He is still fan number one, I think.
No, I completely agree. I've seen that dozens of times, and I find that fascinating. I think it speaks to his likability, how he kind of exceeded the expectation individually for him coming in. Because you're right, yeah. I mean, if they threw up an AJ Moye, I think at this point Victor would still, his cheers would outrank him. I'm not sure what it would take. Maybe a Damon Bailey. I don't know to beat Victor Oladipo's cheers.
I tell you, I don't know that. I think he may be number one, man. He really does. He just, every time he's up there, I'm like, wow, his is just strong. And being in the league's a big part of that.
And I guess I just thought of it. The guy that's moving in 3 miles away, Bob Knight, that one always gets the most cheers.
Yeah. What do you think that's going to happen? My God. I'm glad you brought that up. How big of a deal is that? Bob Knight moving back to Bloomington.
I think it says a lot about where he is at currently, and less so about the city or this university. To me, and from what I've heard, it speaks more to about going back to where there's help when he needs it, and there's things you can't get in remote places.
Yeah, especially out in West Texas.
Yeah. So that's of concern, and I mean, at this point, it didn't seem like he kept a big circle either. So you kind of need to, if you do need help, you need to go where you could get assistance. And you do have just a couple tight knit people that you can count on in need. So I respect that decision. Yeah, I don't think this is a grand movement that, I'm going to make up with the university or I've wanted to come to games. I think this is much bigger and much individual for Coach Knight.
I agree with everything you've said 1,000%. It goes far beyond what I think most people think that it is. But the one curiosity that will be there until it happens or doesn't happen is, will he go to a game at Assembly Hall? And if he does, can Assembly Hall withstand structurally him being there and what's going to follow?
It survived Marco Killingsworth's dunk. It survived the shot over Kentucky. I think it would definitely sustain itself if that did happen. And now at this point, I'd be more surprised if he didn't go back, just because we saw him go around the campus. We saw him go to a baseball game. I mean, at this point, what more are you holding out for? I think you either turned the corner or you haven't. It feels like he's starting to open that door and turn the corner.
Absolutely. What do you got working on with the Athletic? I know you had a piece talking about the coming back out of Las Vegas for the summer league.
Yeah, so I wanted to write about just kind of general observations. What did we see from Vegas? What was learned, and not a ton about that current team, because it was a poor team, Jim. I mean, they ultimately won one game out of the whole thing, and thank goodness they did, because that would have been a total disaster in the small picture of things. Big picture doesn't really mean too much here. But coming up, one guy I'm really interested in writing about is TJ Warren, who the Pacers acquired on draft night. It's one of the quietest moves that people aren't talking about. We didn't include it. And I think he can really benefit now from having structure in moving into a winning situation. So out in Vegas, I talked to his mentor, David West, the former Pacer, and Nate McMillan's son, Jamel McMillan, who coached him last year in Phoenix. So that's a good story I'll be working on here.
Juwan Morgan, I know that he's with the Jazz, not the Pacers, but he finished up his run with the Jazz. I don't know where his next move is going to be. I think it's probably going to be in Europe, but I don't know that for sure. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, you don't get a ton of opportunities to watch guys out there if you're doing the job, to be honest, because you're socializing, you're meeting with people, you're seeing an exec walk by, you need to talk with him. So I was able to see snippets of what Juwan was able to do, and nothing surprised me about his contributions. Same with Butler's Keelan Martin. But those guys just did the dirty work and did everything asked of them. For Juwan specifically, I could see a slight chance he's offered a training camp opportunity. Perhaps even at best, I would see an Exhibit 10 contract, which means you go to training camp with us, and then if we waive you, which would be likely, they would fall back and go to that team's G League organization. But it gives you a little more of a guaranteed money than just signing a guaranteed contract, and that often happens, especially for these rookies. If that doesn't happen, or in addition to that, I'm sure he's going to be surveying the field overseas and seeing what it is. He's got plenty of options. I can almost assure you over there. It's just a matter of money and what country he wants to live in.
Absolutely. Scott, brother, I hope summer's going well for you. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you as always. Look forward to doing it again.
All right, Jim. Have a good day.
Thank you. Scott Agnes from The Athletic. That's where you can find him. We appreciate him joining us here each and every week. He covers the Pacers, and we talk about a lot of other things involving IU. So, but I hope your Tuesday's going well. Hope you're ready for Hurricane Perry. I think we're going to be getting some rain here in the Midwest from that hurricane popping up. At the end of the week, we're going to be live from Chicago, Big Ten Football Media Days, Thursday and Friday. Coach Tom Allen will be with us for certain on Thursday, and we'll fill in the rest after that. There'll be just tons of people to have on. I don't even have an idea who to tell you right now. It's going to be so crazy, but we look forward to that. Tomorrow on the show, Matt Weaver from Pigs.com. We will preview Big Ten Media Days for you. Talk about that. Matt's back after a nice little vacation. I was talking to Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. He's still on vacation, man. I saw he was in Alaska not too long ago, and he's still on vacation, so he's a lucky dude. But we look forward to talking to Matt Weaver tomorrow from Pigs. We'll preview the Big Ten Football Media Days. Coy Crunk, I'm trying to think of all the players, the IU players that'll be up there. They're off my mind right now, but Tom Allen would be there for certain, and we're looking forward to that. We're going to try to see if we can possibly talk to some other Big Ten coaches. Scott Frost from Nebraska would be nice. Indiana travels to Lincoln, one of their tough road games that they will have. So we'll see if we can talk to Scott Frost. Maybe try to get Jeff Brom from Purdue on. I know Jeff and look forward to talking to him if we can get him. Also, wouldn't mind trying to get to Ryan Day, Ohio State's coach. There's going to be a lot of change. When you have a change in coaching, there's always a change, and it usually is a drop-off. And it doesn't matter where you are, what program, what sport. There's usually a drop-off, even at the mighty Ohio State. But we'll see if they can maintain that or not. It's going to be very important because that's who Indiana opens up Big Ten play against this season, the third game of the season, no less, after they play their first two non-conference games. Of course, they open this season August 31st at Lucas Oil Stadium against the Ball State Cardinals. Looking forward to that. Indiana's football camp actually opens on August 2nd. Their media day is August 1st. Of course, we'll be there for that as well. It's only 2 weeks away, man. So here it comes. The Big Ten Media Days is just the start. It kind of opens the crack, and the water just starts flowing through. And the next thing you know, it's kickoff time, man. Da, 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 da. I know it's a different league, but that's okay. That's the only one that I know. You enjoy that one, Jake? But plenty more coming up this week. We appreciate you joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. We got a lot more this week, so stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow with Matt Weaver, like I said. For Jake, I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.